You've been lounging with Skipper. You've been lounging with Skipper. Oh, yeah.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? I'm sitting here right now. Well, welcome to another episode of Loungin with Skip. From the time we met to now, you know what I mean? It's amazing to me. It blows my mind. I'm sitting here with Joy Villa.
Yeah, that's right.
So I just want to know, like, your beginnings. You know, my show is just about the beginnings of how, you know, someone became successful and what it is that they're doing, and what they're doing and where they're going. So let's listen from your beginnings of when you know, I know you're a woman of many things.
Yeah.
You know, acting, music.
That's right.
Arts, the arts.
Yeah, that's right.
So let's touch on the music. So,
okay.
Well, what was first, the acting, music? Which one was first?
Well, that's a good question. A lot of people don't know. That's why I'm writing a book, actually, to tell my story, my beginnings, because I've been through some, shit in life. Yeah. And I think a lot of people, once they get famous or some sort of celebrity status, they don't talk about their past a lot, right? Because it's like embarrassing, right? People want to be like, oh, I was homeless or I was abused. They don't want to talk about that.
Folks want to hear about
but
that.
People do, actually. Yeah. So for me, I started in musical theater. Okay. So it was acting and singing.
Okay, so this is when you were a little girl?
I was 5 years old. Okay. My first play. It was a Christmas play, and I told my mom, you have to make it look perfect for the costume. I was like a little diva already.
Okay.
I was an angel in the Christmas play. And I loved it. And I knew from that moment what I wanted to do with my life. And I was also an artist. Like, I would draw pictures, and I would design costumes, and I would, have a fake little talk show when I was a kid. I just grew up very artistic in doing that. And then when I was 10 years old, my parents let me join this theater performance group. So we did a bunch of theater plays around town. Okay. And this was in Santa Barbara.
So
and then we moved to New York.
You were born in Santa Barbara?
I was born in Orange County, actually, California. Okay. And then we moved to Santa Barbara, and then we moved to New York when I was around 10 years old. Okay. And then we moved back to Santa Barbara. So I'm very New York. A lot of my growing up was from New York, I feel like. But I'm also very California, laid back. So I grew up in the arts. I always knew what I wanted to do. I graduated high school early at 16 years of age. Yes, I tested out for the California Proficiency Exam. Okay. I was already in advanced placement classes.
Really?
I was already like reading. I would read at a 9th grade level when I was like, in 4th grade.
Really?
So reading was really my stickler. Math I wasn't so good on, but I could read well. So, and I was in advanced placement classes, so I would just like join with the Asian kids usually. They're always good in math, right? Okay. And I just made friends wherever I went, and I was very like, you could sit with me. If you didn't have anyone to sit with, you could sit at my table. That was my policy. It's like, everyone's allowed. Come on in. You just have to be polite. There was no cussing. I cuss now sometimes. But when I was a kid, I was very strict.
Really?
Very strict Christian. And no cussing and no bullying. But besides that, everyone could say what they want and get along. So it was like I had my little rules. And it was interesting. You had the smoker kid. You had the bad kid. Yeah. You had the rebels and the Bible believer kids. You had all the different groups there. And then I ended up going to Hollywood.
Around what year? Around what?
How old was that was my parents ended up moving to Burbank. So I left home at 18 years old and traveled around the West Coast. I went to Seattle. I was just living this sort of gypsy life. I lived in this van.
You lived in a van?
I lived in a van.
How long were you living in the van?
With my boyfriend for a couple months.
What was that like?
That was at one point it was fun, but it was also like, I chose to sort of live this hippie lifestyle. I wanted to just be free. And growing up, my parents weren't, it was very up and down. My parents loved me very much, but my mom was diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia when she was 17 years of age. So she would take medication and it would just knock her out, and she would just be sleeping all day. So at all this left alone time with my siblings, I have a younger sister and an older brother, or she would be off her medication and she'd just be running amok and would just grab me and my siblings and just take us across country. And my dad would have to call the cops. It was like a big thing. It was intense. I remember being in a foster home for a few months because my mom was arrested for kidnapping us.
This was after you graduated from high school?
No, this is when I was still a kid.
Okay.
Yeah, just doing some flashback.
No, that's good.
Origin story.
No, that's good.
Yeah, so it was, I always loved Jesus and loved God and knew that I would make it out of the situation I was in. But I also knew that I was loved, even though it was very up and down. I knew that I had more to be grateful for than a lot of other kids. I had a mom. I had a dad.
Right.
A lot of kids didn't have that. We weren't raised in the ghetto because my parents had a lot of money, but then they would lose a lot of money. And actually, at one point in my family, we lived in a van together, which was a super low point. I was probably around 8 years old, and it was just hard. And then my parents destroyed their credit, so we ended up living in hotels. Okay. I thought we were just like on vacation sometimes, Wow. I mean, other kids thought we were. I mean, I kind of knew, okay, this isn't normal to live in a hotel, and the hotel staff doesn't like it when you live in hotels usually because it was just crazy. But I went to high school through all of it. Shopped at thrift stores. We were very, very poor when I was in high school, but I was always very well dressed. Did my hair.
So you made something seemed not as good, but you made it the best out of it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Nobody knew, and I've always carried that about me. People always think I'm rich when I was dirt poor, broke. And then it just sort of, I didn't have any money, but I left home. That's when I was camping out with some friends. I was basically homeless, but then I ended up meeting a boyfriend. We started traveling together. We ended up getting a van, and we lived in that van. And I mean, we panhandled for cash. Like, it was crazy. But when you're 18, you're I was just this free bird, just this free spirit. Free bean. Yeah, that song. And it was crazy, but I was also grateful to be out of the craziness that I was raised in. Okay. It was at least my crazy. And it was harmless stuff. I didn't drink. I didn't do drugs. And then I knew that I wanted to be an artist, though. I focused mostly on the acting because I thought that's where the money is. Music is the private hobby that I love to do. But I just thought, but back then I was like, it's all about acting. So I came back to LA after having lived all over the place. I was like, it's time to do my acting. And my parents had moved to Burbank at this time. Okay. A couple years later, right? I was, and so I came back. I went to acting classes, and I got some small parts in some small films. And
so when you started taking acting classes, you was like, you know what? Let me go ahead and get, what's the word? Have lessons in the arts of what it is I'm trying to do. Become better.
Absolutely.
Learn actually what it is I'm trying to do.
Absolutely. And
or what I want to do.
Yeah, and I had a mentor. I mean, my aunt who retired from the military. She was a captain in the Marines. Okay. She from Virginia. She lived in D.C. and Virginia. She actually paid for these classes. It's like a very expensive program, which there's a lot of them. Don't get me started. Some of these classes are just overcharging, right? But this was the Actors Boot Camp with Eugene Buca, and it was very well thought of and thought out, and it was amazing. And my parents couldn't afford those classes. I couldn't afford them, but my aunt did pay for them. Okay. So that gave me structure. It gave me TV acting skills, on-camera skills. Now, I forgot to say that when I was 16 years old, after I graduated, I was actually producing youth network television for Comcast Cablevision. I was producing my own live segments and anchoring my own live segments. And
at 18?
At 16.
16. Okay.
Yeah, we did little sketch shows, comedy. We'd film them with my video camera, the old Sony video camera with tape, and it was just like I just would find things at thrift stores and put things together and use my dolls and make creations and comedy sketches.
So after high school, you didn't want to go to college or like go off to school or anything like that?
No, I didn't. I mean, I could have gone to college. I could have been accepted into a program early because of my academic skills. I graduated with a 4.0. I mean. But I knew that college was not going to help me. Like, what would a university teach me when I already know what I want to do? Now, if a degree was needed for acting or music or performing arts, because I looked into some colleges that, give those sort of degrees, but 4 years, I mean, I could be doing it in 4 years. I could actually be pounding the pavement, like actually, going to auditions and booking things. And so that I thought, this doesn't make sense. This is going to be a time waster. And instead, I just went directly into TV production, and I got that opportunity. So I was really blessed to be able to see opportunities, even in a small town, Santa Barbara, Lompoc, actually.
Okay. So you were taking these classes, acting classes.
Yeah. So then I turned 18. I took these acting classes, and I still hadn't really battled these demons that were inside of me. There was still some darkness. It's the only way I can explain it. I had a lot of, pain from when I was younger. I mean, I was sexually abused when I was a kid, and I mean, it was 5 years old. It was not my parents or anything. It was not a relative. It was a neighbor who'd come by, and that was painful. And I didn't realize that until much later, in therapy, in counseling. But I found that out because my whole memory had been blanked out until I was like around 6 years old.
When did you start going to like therapy? Were you going to therapy around that time, or this was
definitely
later
not that time? Way later on in life.
Okay. I say that to say because some people don't. They like, I'm not going to go to therapy. I don't want to talk about it. I just want to just live my life and go for it. So the therapy later on in life, it kind of helped you to bring those things
big time.
forward. Okay, that's good.
Big time, yeah. And I was going to church, but it wasn't always regular thing. And it also, you have to kind of save face at church too. That's your community, right? So it wasn't really like, I didn't talk to people about my feelings. I was always the one helping other people talk about their feelings. I was the counselor to others. So I would get really lonely. That's that Taurus. I know. It gets lonely, right? We're carrying other people's burdens. We're the strong bull, but they forget that we can also be gentle.
Exactly.
Gentle cows. Like we're big beasts. We look big. Oh, you're so strong. You're so powerful. Yeah, but we have really soft hearts.
Right.
Big old cow eyes.
Right.
We got horns, but the rest of our body's soft.
Yeah.
It can be difficult. So it was sort of, I got really angry, and I just sort of wanted to do my own thing so badly, and threw myself into the rock and roll scene of Hollywood. And I started a metal band, music.
So this is where the music.
This is where the music started, because I was like, I'm really angry. I need to get this anger out, and I always listen to rock and roll when I'm angry. Cuss, close the door and just cuss.
Okay.
But rock and roll, and I learned boxing at 14 years old. So physical sport, running, rocking music, and just getting it out. That became my refuge. And I threw myself into it, and I started a band, but it just fell apart because the drummer was in love with me, and then I started smoking pot, and it was like, it just collapsed. It was like typical, problematic. My sister was in my band, and she and I would always get into it, right? So it was a mess, and I was a little out of control at that time because I was starting to just go, I want to go the opposite. My dad was a preacher and pastor, by the way. And very kind man, but also he would also have anger explosions, And it was just this up and down, topsy-turvy. We'd feast or famine. I was sick of it. So I threw myself into the rock and roll, but then it failed. And I was like, you know what? Screw being a pastor's kid. I want to go the opposite. And when the opportunity came to date this bad boy, my second boyfriend ever, I ended up leaving with him, and we ended up traveling Seattle. Like I just ran. And he ended up being abusive, physically abusive, emotionally abusive. I got pregnant.
All this is before we met.
This is before we met. Isn't that crazy? Before we met, a couple years before we met. Maybe 5 years, I think, before we met. So I think I was 25 when we met, 24. It was 2011.
Oh yeah, no. It was 2000. Yeah, 2011, late 2011.
That's right. So this was
matter of fact, it was it was the summer 2011.
That's right.
Because that was when we worked on all the music in August of that year.
So this was around 2008, 2009. So this was a couple years before we met. And, the relationship was really bad. It was just abuse all over the place. And I was crazy as well. It was just like, just insane. And I didn't deal with my demons then. And then I got pregnant. And being pro-life, I said, I don't want this baby to suffer for my choices. But I also I can't raise this child. Like I'm messed up right now. I was fully like, at my peak of just not knowing what to do. I wasn't a bad person. It's just I was very irresponsible. It's like a kid.
It's just interesting when I found that out. And I was just like, what? I was just like, I never would have, because it's like when I met you, you didn't come across as that kind of person.
Right, wounded, victimized.
No.
I never carried my scars.
No.
I know.
So that's why when I hit you up, like, really? I text you, was like, wow.
Yeah.
So you were going through all that.
Yes. And I ended up giving my child up for adoption, open adoption. So then fast forward a few months after that and pregnancy and all that, my brother became my best friend through this. And then that's actually when I really hit the deep end, because then my mother died. And, she'd been sick for a while, mentally sick. And she had lived on the streets, and we were trying to find her. And my dad and her had just been distanced. And my sister was living with my dad, and then my mom was just gone. And I mean, she was just totally off meds, out of control. The doctors never helped her. The psychiatric,
you like the spitting image of her, the pictures I've seen.
Oh, thank you.
You all look
she was a gorgeous woman and so sweet and so kind. And just a beautiful woman, but a very broken woman. Like, she's the opposite emotionally. She did carry her wounds on her. She wore her heart on her sleeve. You would see if this woman is broken and shy and sad and low in confidence. My dad was the opposite, overconfident, arrogant. So I kind of balanced the two, I have like a soft inner core. I learned my emotions, like my sweetness from my mom, my kindness, my warmth, but then my strength and my, solidness and my no, you can't take advantage of me from my dad. So it's really this thing, my dad's Italian and Argentinian, and my mom is Black American with some Choctaw Native American. So it was just this crazy mix. But after she died, and I, not dealt with that, and I had given my baby away, I had not dealt with that, I just descended into drugs and alcohol and craziness. And I was doing shows, but, they basically looked like you're going to a strip club when you would see those shows. It was just wild, just taking my clothes off, and not naked, but just like whatever, dancing on tabletops in bikinis. I was like full on Paris Hilton, Lindsay Lohan. Thank God there was not cameras like there are now. And some of those pictures have surfaced, and people try to point out, look at her, she's not a good person or whatever. But I think, man, what were you doing?
Okay, so that was shows.
Yeah,
that was you as like performing.
I was performing. Yeah.
So that was like the costume.
Absolutely.
So but you know what? It's no different than like Vanity 6. Vanity when they came out with Nasty Girl and up on in Apollonia,
wearing lingerie.
Same thing.
Sex sells, and it's fun when you're young to express it. It's the same thing, exactly.
Wow.
I'd have girls on the stage with me, and we'd be rubbing and doing the whole thing, and
it was a performance.
It was all a performance, and it was a way for me to get out my pain, and be performing. I wasn't hurting anybody. It was all legal. It was all 18 or 21 and up clubs. And and there was like gothic themed nights, so we'd be dressed up, and I'd have my dancers with me, Miss Joy's Malicious Kittens, and it was great. I mean, it was really fun. It's not something I would do now because I could see that I was hurting at that time.
You just needed to find a way to express and scream
exactly
like watch me roar instead of hearing me roar, watch me roar.
Exactly, and that was something I had to get out. And a lot of people who are sexually abused act out later on in life. They become, whatever, they become like sex addicts or whatever. It comes out, or they become extremely like they can't have sex, right? They can't have touch. They have some weird relationship. I wasn't on that end, but I was just like, I'm going to try everything. Everything I was not allowed to do, I will try. And luckily I wasn't hooked on drugs, but I experimented. I drank every day. I partied. It was all party, club girl, get dressed up, but at least I was performing, but I wasn't actually creating. I wasn't going in the studio. I wasn't even singing at some of those shows. They were just dancing, and hosting at club nights and promoting for other people's productions. So I knew that my life was empty, and it just came to enough was enough. And I cried out to God, and I had to just stop it all. I went straight to live with my dad. No more alcohol, no more parties. I didn't touch Facebook. I didn't touch my phone, like no texting. All those people, I didn't look at anything for 9 months because I had to do a cleanse. I was so stuck in that scene, that Hollywood scene, and actually was booking roles during that time.
Now,
funny
this is
enough.
when I remember when we met, you told me that it was a movie that Alden
Yeah.
did. And I remember you had he was like, yeah, I'm in this movie too. And it was like a scene
Oh,
where we were outside.
yeah.
And he was like, like a prostitute or something like that.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right.
And I remember you told me when you saw it, and I went and looked at that. I was all like, what?
You're like, joy.
I remember that.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I mean, but that was fine.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah, it was a movie.
It's a
You were acting
movie.
a role.
Exactly, it was a movie. I was like, hey, baby. It's like the opening scene. Yeah. It's funny because there was this Mr. Skin. You know, Mr. Skin is like a stupid online magazine, but it's an online thing where supposedly they find actresses who are nude.
Okay.
And then you can subscribe and see all the nude scenes, right? So they had me up there, and I wrote them. I said, excuse me, I am in this movie, and yes, I play prostitute. I'm fully clothed in that scene. But they were using it as clickbait. See Joy Villa, nude, fully nude, young actress.
This is now? Or?
No, this was a couple years ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah, this was probably around 2015 when I started blowing up with my music after my first Grammys.
We'll get to that.
Yes, exactly. But I had to tell him, I was like, no, I'm not. But it's funny how, they'll catfish you and be like, oh, clickbait. It's a sick culture. So after I began healing,
The 9 months.
yes, that's when I started doing my music. I delved into my guitar. I delved into writing, journaling. All the emotions came out. Healthy living, fitness. I'd go to a coffee shop with my dad. He'd be ministering to people, and I'd just be writing in notebooks, writing new songs, painting. I mean, it was incredible.
Now, okay, so now I'm kind of feeling the vibe of like this is where I came along somewhere along.
A little bit after that,
Okay.
that's right. That's right.
I kind of feel it. Yeah, it's like
whole
another,
new-
like a rebirth of a person that I never would have known any of that was going on.
Exactly. You met me at my rebirth period, my renaissance. Now, it's very smart to always remake yourself. Artists, we love to recreate ourselves, right? We go through
You
phases.
see what I'm doing right now?
I love it.
Okay.
Exactly. I mean, you don't grow, you don't grow.
Right,
You
right.
have to keep growing. You either grow or you die.
So I just want to let everybody listening how we met.
Yeah.
So I was working in Sherman Oaks at this barbershop early 2011. Summer 2011, I see this girl walking down the street on the side of the barbershop, or on the barbershop side, and you were walking by, I think. And or I think I was whatever. That thing like a day you walk by.
Yeah.
And I was like, who's the girl with the big afro? This kind of has she kind of has like a Cyndi Lauper-ish kind of vibe about her, because I was new out here, so
Yeah.
everybody was just kind of looking
The same and
no.
generic.
No. Just the vibe out here was just different
Yeah.
than where I came from.
Oh, yeah.
So I was like, she has an interesting look.
Uh-huh.
And so, but I was like, whatever.
I had pink knee socks on
All that type
and
of
pink
stuff.
Converse and I think
Just-
a rainbow skirt. Yeah.
Just colorful stuff, right? Mm-hmm. So one day I'm going to Subway, right there, or
Yeah.
Starbucks, or one of the two, and the guy, I forgot how, but we ran across each other in that, and you had told me about the building,
That's right.
the Scientology building. He was like, hey, you
Okay.
should come in, and I was like, oh, okay, I'll see what's up, whatever.
Yeah.
So one day I was like, this thought came into my head. It was like, you need to holler at her to see if she's an artist or something to that extent. So I was like, let me go over here to this building, see if she's there.
Yeah.
And when I came to the door, the one guy, the white guy with the big white guy, the beard, he came to the door and I said, yeah, is that one girl here? And he was like, you talking about Joy? I was all like, yeah, her. And he was like, yeah. And then you came out, he was all like, hey. And I was like, hey, can I talk to you for a second?
Yeah.
And that was when we went into that main room.
Yep, with the TV
Yeah.
and the movie. Yeah, that's
And that was
right.
when I was like, I see this vision, like you as an artist were like colorful, like if it was an album cover, it would be like,
Joyville.
and little kids playing and like seesaws and swings, and just because it was your energy that's what I saw, like a Cyndi Lauper-ish kind of.
Yeah.
But like.
I'll never
know.
forget that.
Yeah.
You also said, when I see you, I hear music.
Yeah.
When I see this and you motion to what I was wearing, I hear music.
Yes.
I was
And
so
saw
spot
something.
on.
I know,
That was
right?
so spot on. And I was volunteering at the Church of Scientology,
Yes.
working there.
Yes.
And that is really what, once I found my voice again, I ended up coming to Celebrity Center and modeling in a fashion show. That was the first gig I got after just swearing off alcohol. Like, I don't drink, I don't go partying unless it's for work now. And that was part of the counseling that I got that really helped me get over all these traumas.
So I was catching you at that moment
Absolutely.
when you were going to that place. That's interesting because I never would have
amazing.
known that.
You know, no.
So
You caught me at the right time.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I still have a few friends from those crazy periods
Really?
because they've also grown up.
Okay.
A friend of mine, he became a big artist, and when I knew him, he was like on heroin. I was like, dude, this guy is like trouble. Like I knew then he was bad off, and now I see him, and he's just an incredible artist, and he's covered in tattoos, coolest guy, sweetest person. I know a couple people from those party times who've grown up. Girlfriend of mine now teaches at a university.
Okay.
I mean, it's like if you can grow through that, you can make something of yourself. But most of those people caught in that scene, once you try it, they get addicted. They go down. I know people who've died of overdoses in the Hollywood scene. You know, smile on their face, fake tan, lip gloss, and next day you see they overdose.
So, because now we're touching on the music aspect.
Yeah.
Of the whole Mr. Skipper B.
Yes. Okay. Yes.
Joey
Keep
Valentine.
going.
So-
Yes. This is the great.
So I remember now, and during that time in my life, I was, new. It was like I've been out here for like a year. I'm like, I need to work. I need to do some things, do some music. I need to meet some people. Like I was going through a downtime in my life from the transition of St. Louis out here, and I needed to roar.
Yeah.
So to speak. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I felt like I was closed in.
Right. Bull in a china shop.
Yeah. So I was like, that's when I hit you up. I said, listen, let's link up and do some music, whatever. He was like, okay, cool, let's do it.
You were so great with the communication. That's an East Coast or middle, where
Midwest,
you Midwest thing.
And you were like, okay, cool. But then we wouldn't talk for like a week.
Yeah.
So I was like, no, bump that. And I was like, I said, listen, let's link up today.
Yep.
I'll come and pick you up.
Yep.
Bring you to the spot, and we're gonna work on some music. And you was all like,
incredible.
okay, cool. And so when I brought you to the spot, I was living in this house on the
Sutherland House.
up on this hill in like the woods and the nature aspect.
Yeah.
It was because I was going through my cleansing phase.
Wow.
That's why I lived there.
Wow.
I chose to live there.
Away from everything.
Exactly.
Smart.
I chose to live there because I needed to be able to, from where I just came from, I needed to be around nature and woods and
Something that's real
you know what I'm
and
saying?
healing.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he was never there.
Yeah, it's perfect.
So I was like, when you come through, except I had my roommate. I forgot his name.
Do you still talk to him?
No,
He was kind of special.
Once he moved, once he left, that was it.
He was special.
I forgot his name at this point. I think it was Ben.
Ben! It was
Ben. I
Ben!
think it was Ben.
Yes!
So we basically would link up for like, I think it was 7 days straight, like a week straight.
That's right. Every night.
Every night for a week straight. And was knocking out these
First we get our 7-Eleven coffee.
7-Eleven, which I still get to this day.
Oh boy.
Which I still get to this day.
Oh no.
So look, I still get it to every day.
Skip.
Every day.
Every day?
Every day. 7-Eleven
Wow.
coffee, hazelnut, sugar,
Little puffs.
all that.
Little floaty marshmallows.
Yeah, the marshmallows, all that. I still get it to this day. So
Keeps you grounded.
that's interesting. That was like 7 years ago. So
Yeah.
worked on the music. I think we came up with like 15 ideas. And I remember it was one beat in particular when I had the beat going out. At this time, we would like link up and was playing, what's that group? MGMT.
Oh, MGMT.
MGMT.
Yeah. Dun, 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 dun,
I forgot the name of the
dun,
song.
electric feel.
Yeah,
Oh, baby, dun, dun,
electric,
dun, dun, with your electric feel.
Yeah. And we were just listening to, we would go on YouTube, listening to Sheila E.
Little Dragon.
All that, yes, all that. Just trying to get some ideas.
Yes.
So this
A
one
lot of this
particular-
kind of electro R&B pop
Yeah.
influences.
So when that whole incident, just we were working on that, and I said, you know something, I like this beat right here. And you were like, yeah, let's do it, And you were like, you said to Ben, you said, it was this big book. It was a big dictionary.
Yes.
He said, Ben, look through the book and what's the first word you come across? And he went through the book and said, wind. He was like, wind.
Yeah.
And the beat was playing. I remember, I'll never forget, it was like, we just had the beat playing. You was like coming with some things, and I was kind of in the kitchen doing it. I was like, you come around me like a cold wind. And he was all like, he started singing, and it was like, yeah. And it was like, okay, boom. So we had this.
I wrote all the lyrics in 15 minutes.
Oh yeah. We had this idea, but I was like, I wanted to take the synth part out.
Yeah.
And you brought your guitar through.
Yes.
And you came through and you laid your guitar. So
That's
everybody,
right.
when you go back and listen to that song, it's her
Cold
first song
Wind.
recorded. She's playing the guitar live. That's no edits. That's no anything. She played the song straight through.
Yeah.
And that's what made that particular song so dope to me, is the fact that it was just a natural play. There was no editing in that.
Yes.
And so that was a inspiring moment for me, because it's like I'm actually sitting here creating something now, and it's something different from me.
Yeah.
As a producer.
Yeah.
That was dope.
It's so
I thank
great.
you.
It was so magical.
I thank you for that. You know what I mean?
Thank you.
Because
Yeah.
I never would have probably came with that particular energy of a record with any other artist. And to this very day, looking back, that's the only record that I've done that sounded like that.
Same here.
So I appreciate you for that.
I love that.
So after Cold Wind, we went to the studio, did all that type of stuff, and the song, we just let it just kind of do whatever it was doing.
Yeah.
Now, that was 2012. So 2012, then I didn't hear from you no more. So what at that time, that summer 2012, what was going on in your life?
Well, I moved back to New York after that, and I went to the ASCAP Music Festival.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's
Music
right,
Expo.
That's right.
That's what happened. You introduced me to
Yes,
that. You said,
yes.
join ASCAP.
Yes.
And I was like, yeah.
Yes, I
You
forgot
gave me
about
the know-how. And then they did a once-a-year I Create Music Expo. I've been almost every year since.
And you had that show, we was...
We did a couple
show
shows.
we did at the House of Blues.
That's right. We did a House of Blues
Yes.
show in the Foundation Room.
And that was the last time I saw your dad. I remember
That's
he was
right.
there.
Yep. And my dad was there. We had a song, Free Bean. I
Free
am
Bean.
a free bean. I exist freely. I am a free bean. And I exist as me. Yeah. And you were live remixing it. We had a great time.
We had the
a great
one
show.
guy on the key. No, it was one guy on the guitar. I think
Yeah.
he was another guy on the drum.
Yep, exactly. We had a guy on the drums and a guy on guitar.
Yeah.
And then it was you on the keys remixing it, and then my vocals. We did rehearsals at your new place.
Yeah, at the place where I
Yeah,
stayed with my
that's
mom.
right. And then, and then after that, I went to ASCAP Music Expo. I met these 4 cats who did music. They were all from New York. And we ended up doing all these songs. One of the songs was called Vagabonds, which I'll tell you about later.
Right.
But we did it all in this hotel room because
Okay.
there was a German guy who was there for the expo, and he had the whole equipment. And he goes, come back to my hotel room. He was staying in like the crappiest Hollywood motel because it's in Hollywood and it's just up the street, like on the boulevard. So we all packed into his place, a black guy, white German guy, a white guy from New Jersey, and I think it was one other dude. No, then it was me. I was like the girl. And we all just started vibing together. And so we started creating we created this song called Cold Wind, which I wrote all the lyrics to, and sitting in a hotel room. Like we had all these these songs, right? So we had a great vibe jam session. So we all swore like, we're going to get together, we're going to do this. And we actually pretty much said, let's do a band. Oh, and my friend Charles, who is an incredible singer, he's now on Broadway doing tons of Broadway shows. But we said, let's call ourselves 4MF. For 4 motherfuckers. Because that's like what we are. We're just like 4 crazy motherfuckers, right? So there was 4 of us. I was going to remember that. And with another one who would come in sometimes. So we had this thing. It was just magical. And I was like, I need to move back to New York. That was my calling at that point. So I moved to New York. I'd finished volunteering at the church. And I said, I just want to expand. I want to get out there. I moved to New York City. I was doing things on my own. We started recording those songs. We did some really great stuff. Out of nowhere, the producer's like, I need to make money. I can't do this anymore. And I'm like, yo, I moved from Los Angeles to New York. This is all I have. Like I moved with like $200 in my bank account, like nothing. And at that point, I was talking to my dad every day. I was like, Dad, I don't know if I can do it. I randomly ended up meeting my bandmate from back in the day when I was in Seattle, a drummer. And then he confessed that he was in love with me. I'm like, what is it with drummers falling in love with me? And I was like, oh no. He's like, I've always been, this was a different drummer from a different band, not the first metal band. And it just made things complicated.
Right.
And I thought, okay, I'm not meant to have a band. I'm meant to be a solo artist. I booked this gig in New York, and I rode all the way up there on the train, not in the city. This was in the Water Street Music Festival. And I performed my own thing. I performed Cold Wind with our backtracks, my backtracks, performed a couple other tracks I had done, which we had done in the studio, and just other random producers I had met. And people loved it. And I booked this gig in London because of it. Then my dad died. And I had to come back to Los Angeles to handle everything. I got to see him before he died. He died of a stroke. And that was the hardest thing because he was my best friend. I mean, I was talking to him every day. Like, we had healed so much in that year I'd lived with him after my crazy times. And we talked about it. And I was like, you have to treat me like your grown daughter, not like a little girl. And he was just like, you're right. I need to treat you with respect for who you are now. And we bonded on ever since that moment. And so that was a couple years before. I'm so grateful for that. But he passed away and my life was just shattered. But I was able to handle it more because of the counseling I had done, because I had built some stability. I didn't go off the deep end like I did when my mom died. So I was in a new place, and thankfully. But I was still really broken up by that. And I ended up moving back to Los Angeles. What did I do after that?
Did you go to Seattle?
I went to Seattle. That's right. I went to Seattle. That must have been, I think Seattle must have been before that. So I went to Seattle before I went to New York.
Okay.
I went to Seattle. I went to Seattle. Then I came back here for the ASCAP Expo. And then from there, I went back to Seattle and then moved to New York.
Okay.
Yeah, so I lived in Seattle for a couple months because my boyfriend at the time, who you met, who was a music producer, his brother owned a jazz club. So I ended up helping manage that jazz club, waitressing in it, and performing in it. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, because we were staying in touch. So that was amazing. I crafted a lot of music from that. And that's where I ran into a drummer. And then I told my drummer, I'm moving to New York, you should move there too, because his dad had lived there. But that's when I'd broken up with my boyfriend by then, and now I'm in New York, and this guy's in love with me. This other guy who I thought we were going to do a project with is like, nah, he drops it.
Now, by this time, was Vagabonds already recorded?
It was recorded, yes, but it was not released yet.
Okay.
So it was like Vagabonds. Some way, I mean, the melody was totally different than what you hear now. Okay. And it's funny, it took me a while to get out of that old melody, but the lyrics were the same. Okay. And it was still, the intention was the same. A traveler, someone traveling and going out there, traveling the world. My heels are itching to hit the ground. Just get out there. My body's swaying like a Cali palm tree. Just the imagery of like having to get out there and just live your life, not slowing down, no regrets. So after that, I came back. I went back to New York after my dad died, and I ended up booking this photo shoot with this photographer, and I was really sad at that point. I was like, I don't even know if I want to leave the house. And I was booking fashion gigs, by the way. That was always my backup, is modeling to make money while pursuing music. I had dropped acting. I said, I will come back to acting, but I need to do this music. Music started taking off for me, all these opportunities after I met you. Like, I was craving that, going in the studio. And I met this guy who was a photographer who I'd met a year before at a Los Angeles event. And he ended up basically kidnapping me. It's Torsten. And it was funny because it was love at second sight. He was just a photographer the first time I saw him. But the second time I saw him, this voice said, that's him. And I was like, what? It's like God was saying, wake up. He's arrived. And it came at such a potent time in my life because I just lost a steady, strong male influence. My father, who was my mentor, my best friend. And that was just 2 weeks ago. And then now I have this new influence in my life who's a strong male love of my life. So it was almost like it helped me heal the loss of my father, because I was so lonely at that point. And yeah, I had friends, but I've always been a very independent person, and not everyone understands you when you've been through what I've been through, and when you want to go where you want to go. You do so many things, and not everyone can go with you. They'll be like, it's too much. Why don't you just relax? I'm like, no, I got to hustle. I'm on my grind. So I was working all these different jobs and modeling and waitressing and gigging on the side. And so when I met him, Torsten, he became my boyfriend, and we ended up traveling around the world together.
That's dope.
Yeah, it was incredible. And
I mean, because like every time I would see like on Facebook or whatever, like you're in a different country.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, she's straight just living it up right now.
Just living it up. He was from Denmark. He is still from Denmark. And I was 27 years old, and I had never been overseas. I'd been to Canada, and I'd been to Mexico. And that is when I met Barry, who ended up producing Vagabonds, and I Make the Static.
Okay.
My whole EP.
So Barry, he did, now that the EP that you recorded, that was like a 5-song EP?
5-song EP. Okay. And I knew I was in London for only 4 days. And I said, I had actually, I did a single in Australia, New Zealand, Get Your Freedom. That was in New Zealand. I did Run and Hide. I think that was, I forgot where we produced that one. I had done like a few singles, Cold Wind with You. So I'd had like 3 or 4 singles out now that I would sell at my shows. And I just do gigs. I'd just be like pop-up show in freaking Germany,
and
you know?
And you know what's crazy is as well, just to kind of, we'll get back right there to that.
Yeah.
Because you had hit me, you was like, hey Skip, so I want to know, can I put Cold Wind on my EP? I was like, I don't know. I think I want to keep, but I'm looking at it like, man,
You should have said yes! I gave you a chance. I gave you that chance.
I'm like,
Damn, right?
I could have put that on there.
I know.
Well, okay.
We'll see why.
Right. So you did, okay, so you recorded this now.
So then I said, okay, I got 4 days. So I went in there and we just freaking rocked it. And he was a music producer in London who had done stuff with Girl, Put Your Record On, play me your favorite song.
Sounds familiar.
Go ahead, let your head down. Yeah, I forgot her name, but she has an afro, light skin, curly hair. She's a singer-songwriter, big London, British one. So he was like, yes, I'm willing to do your project. And, I paid for it. So I owned it. Yeah, I was like, it was thousands of dollars for this. And it was like, whew. And I was like, honey, I'm going to need you to loan me some money. At that point, I was making money from my shows, but I was also helping my husband with his photography courses. Sorry, husband, he was my boyfriend at the time.
Right.
We got married now, right? But it was the, thank you. He ran photography workshops that I would model in and get a fee to model, and I'd help him organize it. And then the last day we were in the city, I would book a show. And sometimes they were at like open mic nights. Sometimes they were just like like in Italy. There was this open mic night that was really, really professional, and it's an Irish pub. But they would film it. They would let you go up there with your backtrack. I put that on my YouTube. And so that's how I did my show in Italy. Okay. And I made fans everywhere I go, and I keep going to these cities. And eventually I started printing CDs and selling them, and then I started making money. But at this point I hadn't had the CDs. I didn't have a project. I only had like 3 songs. Right. So I said, okay, I need to make an album. So my husband invested in my career, my boyfriend at the time, and I had what money I had and invested it, and just it wiped me out. But I was like, this is the most important thing in my life right now. And so we went down to make I Make the Static 5-track EP, and one of the songs there.
This is what year?
This was in 2014.
Okay.
2014. So Vagabonds was on there. And the producer ended up going, what if you did this? And it turned into Vagabonds. We keep on going. We keep on going. Never slowing down. We move beyond. We keep on going. We keep on going. Like it turned into Vagabonds, like that. The melody was changed. The lyrics were the same, cleaned it up a little. I did all the writing on that. But he was really good at changing the structure, and I thought that's much better. And so we put down the vocals, and I had to leave. And then he got the guitarist, he got the rest of the tracks together. But all my vocals were done, and we figured out that I do best with a mic, like right with him, like how we're standing next to each other, like not back in a booth. I can perform now in a booth, now I've got a lot more vocal stamina and training, just by being on the road and performing now. But then it was sort of intimidating. You're stuck in this closet looking at your friend through the glass. And I've always been you bring out the guitar and I can start jamming, and I sound much better than I'm like trying to hit notes in the back,
Right.
So he identified that, and that's how we recorded Cold Wind. You didn't have a vocal booth.
No, until we got to the studio and had to redid
That's true.
it,
when we redid it, we actually did a lot of work on that.
But just in the front, and the first time doing it, we did it right there.
Just right then and there, exactly. And we played it for so many people to test it. What do you think about this? We did really good on that track.
People was like, man,
this is
a good song, man. And everybody kept saying, that's a different song from you. Like you did? I'm like,
yeah. So then I Make the Static, and I had a product, a viable album, and I released it through CD Baby onto iTunes and Amazon, and that's when I started getting sales. I mean, every time I did a show, I just promote the hell out of it. Go follow me, go find me on Amazon, iTunes, joyvilla.com. You have to self-promote, and I would just push it out, and they remembered me when I was in London. They remembered me when I was in Italy, because now this is like 2 full years.
And this was
in fact,
also
like 4 years of touring.
And this was also before the streaming aspect really started kind of coming into play. Like, at that time it was really just iTunes downloads, and maybe Apple Music wasn't popping yet.
I don't even think it was out yet. Yeah, Tidal wasn't even out.
Spotify was just really kind of going.
That's right.
So the album, was you getting your sales, a little bit here and there.
Yeah, a little bit here and there.
Just kind of whatever.
Every 6 weeks.
Now, what made you do? I guess first off, getting on the red carpet and dressing up. What sparked that?
Well, I had been touring for 4 years, and at that point, and I had done 25 countries a year. So then we finally came back to Los Angeles, and we'd come back, but it would be for a week or two, and then we'd be gone. All my friends were used to me just being gone. We just know each other online mostly, right? But this time we stayed, and I forgot where I heard about it, but from somewhere. I always am learning and growing, always attending workshops and ASCAP expos and learning, and I want to meet I want to learn my own craft, perfect it, but I also want to meet other musicians and other creators so I can grow. And someone told me about the Grammys. And I knew about the Grammys, but the Recording Academy, you can become a member for $100 a year. You submit your tracks. I think it was 8 tracks then. It might have to be 12 now. Professionally out there. And I had that because I had 5 songs on my EP and then the 3 or 4 singles. So I submitted all my tour data, my website, the track listings, photos of me, press write-ups that I had gathered. And it's a hustle. It's hard to get all that stuff as an independent musician. But I submitted all that, and I got approved. I got accepted into the Recording Academy as a voting member. So then I was able to buy Grammys tickets.
Excuse me.
And then I got a publicist.
Okay.
I start, saving my coin, putting it towards my business as an entrepreneur has to do. Any money I'd make, I put it right back into my business. And I was on social media all the time. I was queen of the selfies even then, when I had 75 likes on a picture. That was a lot for me, right? That was now I get, thousands of likes. It's like, woo. Now I'm trying to get that 75,000 likes, trying to get that 1 million followers. But I had.
So I know the first time we did the red carpet, it was
orange dress.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then I connected with a designer in San Diego.
That was 2015.
That was 2015. He had designed for Rihanna. He had been on a reality show with Rihanna, and she liked the dress. That's why he got cast on it, but she never wore it. So there's this crazy orange construction dress, see-through. And I was like, I need something crazy for my first Grammy. Something wild as me. Something that represents my I don't give a fuck attitude.
That's why when I saw that, I was all like, yep, that's joy.
That's joy, exactly.
I was like, that's joy.
Exactly. I gave no fucks on that Grammy's red carpet.
Just going.
just going for it. And it was so fun. And it got me like tons of press. Oh my gosh.
Okay, now boom.
Ooh.
Now, when you wore that dress, it was the first time. Now you're getting this press all of like, it's not even of your doing. It's just something that you wore. Next day is getting all this.
Oh, it felt incredible. I was a bona fide celebrity. I mean, that was like the 15 minutes style, but I was asked to do talk to interviews and articles all around the world.
From wearing that
one dress. Absolutely. People talked about like, who is Joy Villa? Madonna, Lady Gaga, and Joy Villa worst dressed at the Grammys.
Right.
Like suddenly my name was thrown in the hat with all these famous people who I admired. And I was like, this is incredible. Whoa. And it was groundbreaking.
I was like, wow.
It's just all of a sudden everyone was like, who's Joy Villa? Joy Villa, Joy Villa. They were talking about, Jimmy Kimmel talked about me on his show.
Really?
Oh yeah, he showed a picture of me. He's like, who's this girl? Who's this Joy Villa? I mean, it was mind-blowing. It was the best feeling because you've been working hard for so many years and then you're an overnight sensation, right? It takes you 10 years to be an overnight sensation. Right. I've been working hard since 2011. That was when Cold Wind actually came out, 2011. So here's 2015. So that's 4 years from that point. And it felt so good. Now my album sales it went up, but not like explosive. Okay. But they did go a little bit up. I was like, I gotta get better at my game.
So
but my connections opened up press-wise incredibly. And my social media following exploded.
So 2015 was the year that it was just
it was a whole nother level. I knew that I can just do the Grammys. And I mean, I worked that press the whole year. I didn't even have to do anything. Magazine, Us Weekly put me in there. They put me on the paper, printed copies. MTV News was like Grammy's most outrageous dresses, Joy Villa. Like I was on everything. Anytime you're talking about fashion or Grammys or outrageous looks, I was mentioned in that dress.
So, year goes by. And... okay, here comes the Grammys again.
That's right.
Now, this was like a...
No, you're skipping the 2016.
What was 2016?
See, everyone skips that one. That was the black bone dress. That was kind of like, it didn't really like
I'm pretty sure I've seen it, but I probably forgot.
Yeah, it got me D-list hot slut of the week. It got like, some funny... troll type things, and I mean I love it. I love any of that stuff. So that one was like is a cool look, and that time going to the Grammys, it was like, oh, Joy Villa, she's known for her crazy looks. Okay. So it just sort of rode on my fame from before. Okay. And
but for that year, it wasn't really like talked about a lot.
It wasn't groundbreaking, but it was also
okay. Yeah, I'm into that.
Yeah, it was fun, and I had braids and
right.
Yeah.
Around that time, that was when you were doing the muscles.
That's right. I was doing bodybuilding competition. That was that time. So I was like showing it off. That was the bodybuilding competition, and I was just having a great time.
That's when I knew. I was like, yeah, she's truly in her Taurus power right now.
That's
she's
right.
Really doing just whatever just feels good to do.
Yep, and I won third place.
Staying active, staying focused, staying determined, staying just trying to find something, you know what I mean? Like
it's things that fed me.
Yeah.
And also
it feeds your spirit.
Exactly. Fitness and reaching out, and then also I won third place, won a couple trophies, and I released another single. So then I was able to just do more music, and I released that single that was from Germany. It was great.
So 2017.
Yes.
Grammys.
Here we go.
Here we come back around to after the black dress, bodybuilding, releasing another single.
Yeah.
You know what? Let's do another dress. What was going on in your life at that time, the day or the week before that happened?
Well, I always knew I would wear something crazy again. Crazy is me. Crazy like a fox, right? Something wild. Something, it doesn't have to be crazy, just something that matches my personality. And this was the year of the great Trump running against Hillary. Hillary against Trump. And I was not political before.
I'm not really political.
Yeah, I understand. But I mean, I was raised conservative, Republican, and then I voted for Obama, and then like every good black person did, and then we did it, and then I was just like, politics sucks. There's no change, right? It's not really change, You didn't really bring the troops home. The economy sucks. I'm a musician. What do I care about politics? But then something about Trump. First, I didn't like him. Because I was like, yeah, he's like a bully, and I'm overseas, and everyone's talking about him, and they're taking, he's racist and all this craziness. And I was like, whoa, really? That's what's happening? I was in Asia, and I was in Europe. I was touring again. And then Bernie Sanders came up, and he seemed like a populist, which is like to the people, cut the BS. And a lot of musicians were into him. But then I was like, oh, he's like into democratic socialism, which is less power to the people, more power to the government. I was like, okay, so I don't know what's going on now. Then a good friend of mine said, you need to look at Trump. I'm like, really? Because I'm like, I don't even know if I'm going to vote this year. I know I'm going to be in the U.S., so I have to vote for someone, but it's definitely not going to be Hillary. I never liked the Clintons or what they did. Then I started looking at Trump, and I got what they call red-pilled. Which means you go in, and I started looking at videos on YouTube, speeches that he had given at all his rallies. And I just was like, oh my gosh, this guy's on fire. He wants to bring power back to the people. He's emboldening people. He's like, I want to build the economy, America first. We're gonna strengthen our borders. Just the old-fashioned values that I was raised with. Like not going and going to help all the other countries. Let's just help America first. We have enough homeless here. We have enough problems here. And let's not depend on the government to save us, though. Let's empower people, lower taxes. So I like what he was saying. I like his foreign trade arguments against foreign trade and deals of getting rid of China as much and more American. And for me, I'm a pro-military. My family's military. My dad was in the Army. My aunt was in the Marines. So I liked his stance. And I voted for Trump. And of course, if you were pro-Trump as a person of color, especially during that time, you were literally a Nazi. Right? I mean, they're just like, you're the devil. So I kept it quiet. And I had very few friends that were pro-Trump, except for the designer of the dress, who we found out, he's like, I'm pro-Trump. I said, what? I'm pro-Trump. And so we both were like, oh, Trump won, yay. So when he won, we were crying with happiness. We're like, oh my gosh. And, I posted something, I voted, and I'm so happy I voted. And of course, people clowned me on Instagram. Oh, why are you happy? Because now I had a good fan base. People knew who I was to a certain extent. And my fans were just already getting angry. So it's like, oh, okay, this is crazy. I need to be myself. I need to come out bold. And the way the media is attacking him, this is insane. Madonna saying she wants to blow up the White House, preaching that from the rafters, like that's a good thing. I mean, I said, culture dictates how people are thinking. And right now, anyone who likes Trump or even wants to give him a chance is demonized. And that is wrong. So I started getting into becoming back into being a Republican, but more in the terms of being a conservative, like an independent conservative, not old school Republican, but like new school, this youth, this new political movement. I delved deep into it. I started listening to all the people who are in the industry of this and watching YouTube videos. And when it came around for the Grammys, I wanted to make a splash, and the designer said, Joy, what if you wore a Trump dress? And I was like, yeah. Let's do it. It's his idea. And of course I said, well, I'm the one who's going to have to take the heat for it. So, he would throw out a lot of ideas. And I'd say, no. And I released a remix album of I Make the Static. Right. So I was like, thinking like really bright colors, kind of EDM flow, like flowers and birds, or, something really artistic and wild. And I decided to wear the Trump dress.
Now, real quick, what made you go back and re-release the I Make the Static album as far as like the EDM? What made you?
I ran a contest. So I had fans by that point. I had a good fan following, and I ran a contest, a remix contest, that you could send in your remixes of my songs, and I put them on a new remix album. Being into fitness, that 2017, I always would listen to remixes to get myself worked out, to work out 6 a.m. cardio or lifting weights. So I was like, what if I do a remix of my album? And it went over really well. Sold a lot of copies. It was really great. At that time, nothing like what happened after 2017.
Okay, so that night, you all got that dress together. And The day comes.
I planned it. I said, the media, I've done this rodeo before. They're going to destroy me like they're trying to destroy him. They're going to lump me into every single bad category they can. So I have to hide the dress that says Make America Great Again on the front. Make America Great Again and Trump on the back. Beautiful dress, custom fit for my body, looking buff, looking tight, wore my afro out, flower in my hair, a white dress over the dress until I hit that red carpet. And that's when I just threw it off.
And that's when it was like everything, like the model in you, the fashion woman in you, just Joy Villa, the Taurus power in you, everything just got revealed.
Yes.
It was like, because when the way that you did it was just flawless. The way you was turning, like it was like she's been here before. She's done this.
Yeah, I just unbuttoned it slowly, and then I just threw it off.
This is Joy.
You knew it.
I was like, this is Joy.
The theatrics, the style. You're absolutely right.
Yeah. So when you did that, did you feel like?
Oh, my heart was pounding.
Really?
Oh, I mean, anyone could have done anything to me at that point. You know,
like what?
Well, they hate Trump so much, and I thought, there's security there though. Someone might throw tomatoes at me or powder. They throw flour at people. They don't like wearing fur or whatever. Someone could have tried to steal the dress, take the dress off. I just imagined what could have happened. I said, it's going to make them look worse. The cameras are going to be there. So everyone's going to be catching it. If someone tries to do something to me, that's just going to make a headline, right? So I'm like, I thought of, I'm going to turn off a lot of potential fans. Like I could absolutely ruin my career by doing this, but I didn't care. I mean, I didn't think that far in advance. I was like, yeah, but it's more enjoyable for me in this moment to say F you to the establishment that's going to tell me how to vote, tell me how to think, tell me how to dress. I'm going to do my thing. And it felt good to be myself. Free being. Exactly. That's the whole thing. And it took off like gangbusters. I hit number one on iTunes.
Now, hold on a minute. Now, that morning after, what happened?
Well, that morning after, that same day, I was all over the press.
That same night?
That same night, all over it. I was sitting there with my new publicist, and we were looking, and he was like, oh my God, Joy, you're trending on everything. You're everywhere. And I was like, we're sitting watching the Grammys, and I'm looking at my phone and it's like all the updates, like just trending everywhere. Yahoo News, Joy Villa, where's this, and was just boom. I didn't think I could get bigger than the 2015. I mean, of course I knew I would, but I didn't think the Grammys would be it. You just keep doing you put out music and you just being true to yourself. But that struck a nerve, and everybody was like, whoa. You either loved it or you hated it. But so many people loved it. They were like, thank you, Joy. I also voted for Trump. And I get beat up because I wear my Make America Great Again hats. And I get this. And I got just heaps of love letters. People saying, I know they're going to hate you in the liberal media, so I'm going to send you a letter of love.
Was you getting hit up from overseas?
Oh, everywhere.
It was everywhere.
Oh, name a press, I was there.
Wow.
They would a picture of me, an interview with me, or even if it wasn't a direct interview, it was about me. But every single New York Times, Huffington Post, LA Weekly, Entertainment, Hollywood, all of everything. I mean, I had been on most of this press before in 2015, but this was unlike anything. And the political press. You know what I thought? I said, worst thing that happens is because they hate Trump so much and they're going to hate my politics, they're all going to ignore me. I was like, everyone's going to ignore me on that red carpet. I'm going to be there and they're just going to be like, ugh. That's what I thought would be the worst. I was like, unless someone tries to kill me, but that's not going to happen. I got death threats too, though.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
Serious death threats, yeah.
So
I was on the press everywhere. And then I hit number one.
Okay, now when did you find that out?
That was that night I was trending. My team, my assistant, and a couple of my friends and my husband, they were all looking at all the press, and they said, Joy, you're number 6 on iTunes right now. I was like, what? And then I was like, number 4, you're right behind Drake. And then I was like, you're number 1.
This was during the week?
This was during the night.
During the night?
Yeah, over a couple hours. I just started climbing the iTunes charts. I'd never been on the iTunes charts before. I was like, what? Like, I mean, I went from, I don't know, non-existent on there to surpassing Drake, Pink. Oh, shoot. And Beyonce's number one, right? And then I surpassed Beyonce. I hit number one. I stayed there for days, for the whole week. For days of that week. I don't know if it was exactly 7 days, but it was like days. I'm thinking, okay, you hit it once and then you go down once these other artists outsell you. No. It was like, it was an avalanche. Then and Amazon, same thing. I wrote up those charts. Oh, surpassing Pink, Lady Gaga, Adele, Beyonce, Joy Villa. Boom. Then Billboard reported I would make in the top 200. I'd be making the top 10, top 15. First, they're like, "Oh, she's headed for this spot." So then I'm like, I'm not going to wait on that. This is a once in a lifetime. Not once in a lifetime for someone who's pursuing it, but this is the first in a lifetime chance to make the biggest chart there is on music, and that's Billboard. As an independent artist, so I started texting all my friends. I was like, "Hey guys," I went to YouTube. I call my fans Joy Tribe. I said, "Joy Tribe, thank you so much, all my new fans and followers." My social media exploded. I got like 100,000 new followers overnight. On every single thing. It was just boom. I went from like 30,000 to like 130,000. It was insane. Instagram, I got, thousands upon thousands of likes. At one point, all my tweets were getting like 6,000 or 7,000 likes. It was insane. They've come down to like, now I get about 1,000, because you did that kind of math. I was just hot news, and the news was just putting it out. There was new articles every damn day. CNN now, Breitbart News, Fox News had me on. But before that, I was tweeting everybody, texting everybody, hey, please go buy my album, I Make the Static. Let's get it as high as we can on the charts. It debuted at number 15 on the Billboard. Top 200 Billboard charts for March. Number 15, the top 200, and it debuted at number 1 in 2017, number 1 in alternative, number 1 in rock. So on 3 charts, I debuted, and I hit number 1 on 2 charts. Outsold Red Hot Chili Peppers and Metallica, whose shirt I'm wearing right now, who were the top rock sellers. Alternative, Imagine Dragons, all the alternative bands, because the album is rock and alternative. And so it was incredible. It changed my life.
And then a month and a half later, here comes iTunes, Spotify streams. Now you're like, what?
More numbers than I'd ever seen in my life.
How did that feel?
Oh my! First of all, I was all over the news.
It's so dope talking to you about this right now.
Yeah.
Like, how did that feel to see? Because I remember hitting up CD Baby, and I remember during that time they had shut down like that week, and I was like, I called them. I said, yeah, I noticed you all are shut down or whatever. What's going on? She's like, I don't know. I said, well, Joy Villa's album, I Make the Static, is in you all's, through CD Baby. She's like, oh really? I was like, yeah. I was like, the song me and her did, it's called Cold Wind. She's like, oh, really? Wow. I'm on she was like hyped up that she was talking to me. And I knew you.
Yeah, because they knew who I was.
Yes, at that time. I was like, so I was figuring like,
wow,
maybe the sales of all that was coming to where it was like, they was like, what the hell? Because they're the ones that have to pay you out.
Yeah, it might have done that.
Maybe
it was like, how the system just breaks down almost.
All of a sudden shut up. I remember it shut down for like a few days.
It must have been me.
During
Who else?
That.
And
I was like, what in the world?
I sold 30,000 copies.
Now, how did that feel? Okay, so when you got that, you sold 30,000 the first week?
30,000 in 4 days.
30,000 in 4 days.
Without even a full week to make the Billboard numbers, I actually only had 4 days to make those numbers. So imagine if I would have had an extra 3 more days to say, I would have debuted probably at number 5 at that point. The way the sales were going, it was just going up and up and up and up. Billboard personally reached out to me and was like, hey, so you're going to make it on our charts? We'd love to have like a signed autograph of your CD because we like to keep track of all our stars. Billboard hit me up and I was like, yeah. So I got to send them physical copy. Billboard does report like news reports on me all the time now, which was incredible. Because that was one thing is like music. I wanted those music publications to know who I am as I'm a musician. competition. And I've been in politics a lot now, like talking about political stuff, because now that I'm out and everyone's looking to me and listening to me, I'm like, this is incredible. This is a dream come true, to be outspoken on the things I love and want to be outspoken on, and to be able to be an artist and to be an activist. I'm a political activist.
So is it to the point where you can walk outside and people may recognize you?
Well, I've been on Fox so many times. I've been on NBC. I've been on Good Morning America. I've been on so many news programs that, depending on where I am at the time, I get recognized. I mean, I get recognized mostly in the airport. And especially if I have makeup on, my hair out with the flower. In LA, I think everyone's too cool for school, but I do get recognized in LA too. Not as much, but in New York, I get recognized a lot. When I'm in Texas, I get recognized a lot. You know, certain cities where my fan base really is. When I go to events, I went to CPAC, which is a conservative political action conference. I got bombarded. So many people came out. Hundreds of people wanted to take selfies with me.
Really?
And that was just a couple months ago. So I've seen that the activism is one of the most important parts, but the music is the core that brought it all together.
So where is I Make the Static at now? How many records has it sold?
It has sold, I don't know the current numbers on it, but that explosive week littered into, like, it was like an effect on every other song I did. Cold Wind.
Yeah.
Remember, you got the numbers on that made more money that week than it ever had.
I was like, wow, man.
All my other songs shot up, and then my new album, Home Sweet Home.
Now tell me about that album. What made you want to go back in and?
Well, I spent the latter part of last year going to the White House. I got invited to the White House several times, and got to meet a lot of the staff, and I haven't met the president in person yet, but I got to meet, and he tweeted me.
You, right?
Yeah, he tweeted me, and he said, "You have a lot of fans. Good luck." So they're all fans of mine, and I even spoke on, met Laura Trump, who runs the campaign, was on the campaign advisory board last year. I mean, I got really active, and I loved it. And then this year, I said, I'm pro-life. So I said, I want to share that story of giving up a child for adoption instead of destroying the life and doing something that was painful. It's always a painful choice, but I made the choice for life. I didn't want to punish that child. And I get to see her today, and I know her. She calls me Mama Joy. It's incredibly
Looks like you?
She looks like me.
Really?
Yeah, she has a big afro.
Really?
She looks just like me.
Wow.
It's crazy. She looks so much like me. Dresses like me, likes the same things I like. Yeah, she's going to be a little artist.
Wow.
And from something awful, the relationship, which, came something beautiful. And she has an amazing family. She's happy, healthy. And I get to see her as often as I like. And I said, now the healing has begun. I was like 19 years old when I got pregnant, like 19, almost 20. And so it's a different time now. I'm 31, so it's over 10 years ago. So I'm like healed. I've been through my parents dying. I've been through homelessness. I've been through alcohol abuse, physical abuse, sexual abuse. I've been through all these things, and now I'm healed through it. My life is to inspire other people's life. Like, I am not a victim, and I speak on that all the time. I'm like, people will blame, racism, or sexism, or it's because I'm fat, it's because I'm ugly. No, it's because you don't want it bad enough. There's ugly people out there who are making it. Lena Dunham, there's people out there who say, well, she was born into the money. Yeah, she started to create something. I don't particularly I don't like her politics or what she stands for, but I use her as an example, especially in the arts. There's all different types of people here. And look at Donald Trump. Like, this, a lot of the country hates him, wants to take him down. He doesn't care. He got elected. He spoke to his fan base. He spoke to the people about the issues that he knows that normal Americans are interested in. And he got elected. Like, there's no time where you can say, well, it looks so bleak and I might as well give up. If you really truly want something, you go after it. Right. Being an independent artist, never getting signed by a record label. They've come at me, but it's always a little dodgy. If it was the right label, like a smaller independent label,
a boutique type of
label, I would be interested. But right now,
the main corporation, like corporate label,
no. So I knew the Grammys was coming up, and I wore my Choose Life dress, which a lot of people said outdid my Trump dress. That's what LA Weekly said.
So how was it after that came out?
You know, that was, it's sort of like...
Home
Sweet Home.
You dropped that?
I dropped that day.
Oh.
I dropped it the same Grammys day. I said I want to, use the, attention, the eyeballs I'm going to get to push a new album as well as showcase my story and give something to the fans because they've been asking for new music. I did drop a single, Make America Great Again, last year. Make America Great Again. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's so catchy, right? Yeah, we can still be the hope of every hungry child.
Yeah,
be the sound of every freedom song.
Yeah, it was something it was like, I saw it on YouTube. You were like on this news. I forgot. I think it was in New York, maybe. Mm-hmm. And they like played the song, and you were like getting interviewed, and I was just like, "Wow!"
Yeah, man. It peaked at number 3, but it actually peaked at number 4 on Amazon charts, pop charts when it came out, and I think it was number 12 on iTunes, which was like amazing. And then YouTube tried to take it down.
Why?
Because there was someone was in there said that I didn't get their permission, but I did get everyone's permission to be in there. So it's basically just censorship because it was pro-Trump, because it was just pro-America too. But I'm wearing my Trump dress in it, and it was really beautiful. And I fought it. I took it public, and as soon as I went public with it to all my Twitter following, I said, look what YouTube's trying to do. They are censoring us. This is ridiculous. They're censoring artists' free speech. What? There's nothing wrong in this video. There's nothing hateful.
Right.
There's nothing ugly or violent. Because some of that stuff should be taken down.
All the videos on YouTube,
yeah,
crazy stuff.
You can stick a gerbil in a microwave and film it on YouTube. That doesn't get taken down. Freaking hey!
A gerbil in a microwave.
I've seen this kind of stuff.
Right.
I haven't seen it, but
Right.
I've seen this.
Yeah,
the headline:
yeah.
popping pimples, explode, like surgeries, live surgeries. I don't think some of that stuff that shouldn't be taken down, but that's more offensive than this.
Right.
Yeah, of all the crap on there. So it was ugly, but I took to my social media, I took to my YouTube, I took to my Periscope, and I published the letter that they had sent me that was basically a cease and desist. If you don't take out the faces. First they said, we're going to take your video down. And I said, why? So you have to take out that face and blur that face. I was like, what if I can prove, I literally have paperwork on every person who's in my video. They signed it. It's a release. I'm not a dummy. I've been in this industry, right? Just do a release. Right. And I told them it's for Make America Great. New Yorkers don't care. They're like, okay, great. I said, can I just film you? And I personally filmed them myself. So I had to blur out this person's face. I did, and then they did say, okay, fine, we reviewed it. We're not going to take your video down. But they actually took it down. I had to put it back up to re-upload it.
So the views that it gained, it started all over.
It started all over again. Exactly. Well, they put it on private. So I didn't have to re-upload the whole thing. It just was taken. It was just gone.
Okay.
And then, so the views just were stopped.
Okay.
But I could have had way more views. Now it's got 200,000 views, which is really good and gaining. And but that video was just crazy. So after that happened, though, I went to the news. I talked about it. It actually went up to number 1 on Amazon because of it. Number two on Amazon. I know that was Make America Great Again. Okay. And now Make America Great Again is on Home Sweet Home, the EP. Okay. Home Sweet Home, I'm singing the national anthem. That's my newest EP. It's that one peaked at number 2 as well. Yeah, so Home Sweet Home peaked at number 2 on Amazon. It surpassed Taylor Swift on the charts.
For that week?
For that week. And the only person who was above me was Justin Timberlake. And he was doing the Super Bowl. That was the week he was doing the Super Bowl. So I couldn't quite, I was like, let's get, can't quite surpass him.
To go from that young girl, growing up in Orange County, to this.
I was born there. I didn't really grow up there.
Born in Orange County.
Yeah.
Moved, just with your parents, that life that you were living as a child. Seeing how the boldness in you can push, it shows that there's no limitations if you yourself have faith in belief in who you are as an individual, can take you to a place where there's no limitations.
That's right.
This is a prime example of that. For people that don't hold back how you feel, what you think, what it is you want to do.
Yeah.
Everyone has a free being within us.
Yes.
So it's really about finding that free being within each of us.
Yeah.
To showcase that there's no limitations to what we as individuals can do. And you've been a prime example of that. And I've been a witness of seeing that in
Thank
you.
you.
You know what I mean?
Thank you, Skip.
I mean,
that makes me cry.
You know, it's the truth.
Beautiful.
It's the truth. You know what I'm saying?
And I don't even think about it because I'm in it.
Yeah.
But when you put it that way, it's
Yeah.
like, yeah.
It's the truth. But that's the thing, though. That's what grabbed my attention to you when I first met you.
Yeah.
I saw it was something that was like, and then when she started, I am a free, like this woman right here is free.
Yes.
And it's inspiring for me to not hold back my own freeness of who I am as a
that's
person,
right.
to showcase that there's no limitations
That's
to what
right.
it is.
Because there really aren't.
The
The only limitation is what you put on yourself.
It's us.
You can say it's society or your parents or how you were raised or the body you're born into or the circumstances you're born into. But we see time and time again, people are born in the worst of circumstances, my own experience, or even worse than mine, in your experience, and they succeed. But people are born in war-torn countries that come and win Nobel Peace Prize, and they're born in the worst ghettos, or people have said that they shouldn't survive or they wouldn't survive, and yet they miraculously recover and can run a marathon today. Or what about people who were born with no legs, no arms, yet they somehow find the way to survive? I mean, we look at those people and go, oh, that's so inspiring. But everyone can be inspiring. You have to inspire yourself.
Yes.
And love yourself enough to go after what you feel is what you deserve. I have never thought, oh man, maybe I shouldn't be an artist. It's who I am.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't care how many people will say, oh, blah, 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 because people talk. I got my haters too.
Now, what's this? You was getting like death threats? I mean,
Oh yeah, I mean,
Okay.
because people,
What?
once you do something that inspires people, they get scared. Other side gets scared and they want to kill you.
That's crazy.
It's dumb.
That's crazy. That's
It's
like
so
what?
dumb.
I mean, just little things that, stuff I was reading on Twitter and people saying and stuff. I'm just like,
Yeah.
they don't know joy.
Exactly. They just don't know me. Exactly.
They don't know joy.
Yep.
Because anybody who has joy
Yeah.
within themselves wouldn't be walking around talking about I want to kill somebody.
Right.
They don't have joy within themselves.
That's right. That's right.
You know what I'm saying? So your
That's right.
name was fitting for the moment. You know what I mean? For time, because the word joy has been around before you or I, and it will be here after you or I are gone.
That's right.
Joy is a word that's been used back in the biblical days.
Yeah. That's
Joy is a
right.
feeling.
That's right.
Happiness.
That's right. And joy is happiness and relief after suffering.
Joy.
Yeah, the true definition of joy is not just happy, right? Like I can be happy that I'm eating a cookie, but true joy is like you've never been allowed to eat a cookie and you finally got that cookie. You worked hard and you bought a cookie yourself.
So
That
you have joy.
is true joy. It is happiness after having a lack of happiness or after suffering. It's like relief, but like a freedom of relief.
You should do a Christmas album called "A Joy to the World."
Oh, that's a good idea. Maybe
But
we'll have
say
to
that
do
tonight.
it. Yeah.
So, where do you see yourself the next 5 years?
Ooh. I see myself as I'm getting back into acting because it's really important to inspire others, and I want to do a talk show. I want to do my own talk show.
I can see that.
Yes.
I can definitely see you doing that.
Thank you. I
can
really
definitely
want to
see
do
you
it.
doing that.
Yeah, because that'll help others, and I'm very outspoken and opinionated, and I
Mm-hmm.
love it. And I'm writing a book about my story,
Mm-hmm.
so people can hear it, my memoir, and I put my lyrics and my music and everything. You're going to be in my book,
Mm-hmm.
of course, because you're part of my journey. And just creating more music. I'm working on another album.
Okay.
And I'm not rushing things. That's the thing. Most people they make mistakes when they become a celebrity. And I got caught up into it last year, but I did a lot of great stuff. But you're like, oh no, I gotta say something. I gotta comment on this. I gotta stay relevant, right? You gotta be out there. But the truth is, you make your own relevancy, and I could disappear. I could go to the Maldives or go to Jamaica for a year, come back next year's Grammys, everyone will remember who I am. It's not like you lose it that quick, as long as you stay true to yourself. So I really want to create great products that people can hear and listen to. And I've got a singing pen where I sing the national anthem. It's a Joy Villa singing pen. It's on my website at joyvilla.com.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. What do you want to tell like any aspiring, artist, actress, singer? What words would you tell them to someone who's listening to this in a small town in Ohio right now? What would you tell them, to give them words of encouragement as far as, where it is that they want to go?
I would tell them that they need to know that they are going to face an incredible amount of obstacles in their life. But if you believe that what you want to do is important and valuable, and most importantly, you're obsessed with it yourself. You say, this makes me feel good. This is what I love to do. This feels right. This is my calling. This is what I'm meant to do. When you have that kind of drive and fire, you have to listen to that. God gives you a chance to go after your dreams and goals, but it doesn't mean he's going to take away the obstacles. That's going to be presented. So you have to believe in yourself so much and what you want to accomplish, and have your vision and your focus so clear that when you see obstacles, you just push them out of the way. You just laugh them off. You go, okay, this is one of those obstacles I heard about. You have to expect the opposition.
Obstacles are the frightening things you see when you take your mind off your goals.
Ooh, I like that. I like that. That's right. Steady, keep going, keep pushing, and be strong and proud about it. I mean, you can go as fast as you want or as slow as you want. It's up to you. But you're never going to go anywhere if you don't do something every single day, if you don't hustle, if you don't grind, if you don't make those phone calls, tell people about who you are and what you want to be. Like, I've always told everyone, like, I'm going to be a star. And it's not just like an arrogant thing, but it's just like, yeah, I'm going to be a star. And I know people told me that in high school. They're like, yeah, you said you were going to be a star. Look at you now. I mean, I carried that. I knew it. I carried my own self-respect. I don't carry my wounds or my pain. I carry my success. I carry my future. And even now, it's not like I'm like, well, I made it. No, I've got way more to do. I want to be winning Grammys, performing at the Grammys, owning my own companies to inspire other artists. You just want to keep expanding. I like to be like Oprah, lifestyle brand. Everyone, there's room for everyone to do that.
Yeah. Well, Joy, I appreciate you. I thank you. Thank you for lounging with Skip, lounging with me, and letting the people know just where you come from and where you're going. And I appreciate you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Skip. It's a pleasure.
It's all good. So until next time, where can people reach you?
People can reach me on YouTube, Miss Joy Villa. It's MissJoyVilla. YouTube.com/Miss Joy Villa. JoyVilla.com. Instagram @JoyVilla, and on Twitter @Joy_Villa.
Okay. And so if any producers or any other artists want to reach out and collaborate.
Joy@JoyVilla.com. You can email me, joy@JoyVilla.com.
Okay.
I love collaborations. Let's do it.
All right. Well, everybody, until next time, peace.